Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to another Health Bite. Now, for those of you who are in the Southern Hemisphere, you're of course approaching autumn and winter. And so I thought I would shine the light today on the use of natural antibiotic foods, both for the prevention of colds and flu, but also for their treatment. Now, it's interesting to note that coughs and colds are the most frequent reason for doctors writing an antibiotic prescription. And yet, the irony is that most upper respiratory and tract infections are in fact viral in nature. So their use is the use of antibiotics in this regard is highly questionable. In addition to that, reasons why we might want to choose natural options instead of pharmaceutical antibiotics is the side effects that come with most pharmaceutical drugs. Now, your doctor or pharmacist may not always mention these, but if you choose to look at the data sheet, there's invariably a long list of side effects, and you really don't want to be taking a chance with these with your health. In addition to this, this widespread use of antibiotics has led to a really considerable issue with antibiotic resistance. And MRSA is one that has received most of the spotlight, which is a strain of bacteria that is resistant to most of the common antibiotics. And this is just one of many. And this is of great concern because if one is infected with one of these bacterial strains, then it could prove highly dangerous if you really did need antibiotics one day and they simply didn't work. So we always need to exercise caution when choosing antibiotics. And the other reason why we would choose to rather use a natural option when preventing or treating infections such as cold and flus is because pharmaceutical drugs invariably treat the symptoms and not the cause. And as you will have heard me say before, in natural medicine, it's all about treating the cause. And when we treat the cause, the symptoms naturally subside, and they subside for good because we treated the underlying reason for the symptoms. And our focus, as you will have heard me say before, is always on optimizing our cellular terrain with the diet we choose, with the lifestyle, with the emotional patterns we run, etc. And when we have a really healthy cellular terrain, the great thing is we don't need to live in fear of contracting infections from others or from the world around us. We really don't need to live in fear of illnesses and disease because we have the ultimate insurance policy in place, a healthy cellular terrain, a healthy immune system. And not only do we help to prevent infections, but should we contract an infection, well, when we enhance our immune system and we use these natural options, then that don't work by killing anything as an antibiotic would, but they work by optimizing our inner doctor. And so we don't need to struggle with long drawn out coughs and colds, and we can really bounce back very quickly after a cold. So there are just some of the reasons why I really strongly recommend going for these antibiotic foods in your diet as opposed to opting for a pharmaceutical drug. I've chosen 3 foods today that are very easy for you to incorporate into your diet, into your everyday lifestyle on a regular basis. You perhaps are already eating them, and you could simply step up the use of them to consciously prevent infections, again, during times of infection, you can also step them up. Okay, so with that said, number one is honey. Now, this really is one of my favorites, and it is not only a wonderful antibiotic in the current times, but history shows that it has been widely used by many ancient civilizations, including the ancient Egyptians, who used honey as a real go-to, as a natural antibiotic. Even in the current times, the same applies. In fact, a recent study that was published in just in August 2020 in the peer-reviewed journal of the BMJ, Evidence-Based Medicine, found that honey gives better results than antibiotics in relieving symptoms of coughs and colds. Just to give you a quote from the researchers from the study, they said the following: when clinicians wish to prescribe for upper respiratory tract infections, so that's your colds and flus, we would recommend honey as an alternative to antibiotics. Honey is more effective and less harmful than usual care alternatives and avoids causing harm through antimicrobial resistance. There you go. Okay, so hopefully, that helps to just reinforce what many natural practitioners have been saying for decades. Evidence also from studies points to the fact that honey is effective not only against sensitive strains of bacteria, but also the resistant to antibiotic strains that I alluded to earlier. So really is, that point alone is very noteworthy. In addition to treating colds and flus, it helps to prevent colds and flus. Obviously, that's something that pharmaceutical drugs cannot be used for. So I really would consider including honey on a regular, ongoing basis to keep your immune system up in prevention during the winter months. And if you enjoy honey, well, this is not a difficult thing to do. Now, just before we talk about the instances for us to use honey, is I do urge you to choose raw honey. We don't want the honey to be heat treated, to be pasteurized. That reduces its efficacy. Good natural raw honey straight from the bees, and this is best bought at your farmer's market or your natural health food store, as opposed to supermarkets where often sugar has been added or where it's flown in from other continents and really has been tampered with. So we want the good original honey. Firstly, as I've already said, it's great for treating colds and flus, but also for sore throats and coughs. And this is a great one for kids because it's so easy to give them, and they can either just swallow a teaspoon of honey, or you can add it to a tea. Honey also is a natural anti-inflammatory. So for those folk who struggle with asthma, it's also something to include in your diet on a regular, ongoing basis. But in addition to upper respiratory tract infections, honey is wonderful for healing wounds. Now, whether that is skin wounds, rashes, abrasions, mild burn wounds. This can really heal and quicken the healing time while preventing infection. So remember, honey can be applied topically to wounds, just as is. And then it's also great for helping to cure urinary tract infections. This again can be taken as just as a teaspoon of honey on a regular basis, 2-3 times a day, or by adding it to your tea. Honey can also be enjoyed, of course, on a slice of bread or toast, or in desserts. So many different applications. So please enjoy honey, and remember that it's not just a delicious treat, but it really is true medicine. Okay, with that said, let's move to number 2, and this is another common everyday household food, and that is garlic. Now, not only is garlic a wonderful flavor to your meals, but it is also a powerful antibiotic. And just like honey, it has been used for thousands of years by many different ancient cultures around the world. And honey has been shown to counter a wide range of infections. That garlic, that is, counters a range of infections, bacteria, viruses, fungi, even parasites. And it's good to note that it's also an effective treatment against E. coli and salmonella. I'm sure you're familiar with both of those with respect to food poisoning. So again, great for treating it, but also in preventing these infections that can lead to food poisoning. And studies have shown that it's the active substance in garlic called diallyl sulfide, which is in some cases 100 times more effective than many of the commonly used antibiotics, and of course with none of the side effects. It does so not by killing anything. You've heard me say before, everything has profound purpose in our universe, and so we don't want to go around killing anything. But just as is the case for honey, but garlic too functions by bolstering our immune system, so that our own inner doctor works to restore homeostasis and get any infections in check. So, such a much more harmonious way to be treating infections. In fact, studies have found that eating garlic on a regular basis can reduce the number of colds a person gets by 63%. That's really quite significant, and reduces the duration of the cold symptoms by up to 70%. So yeah, really is impressive. But garlic doesn't just serve as an antimicrobial, it also has many other benefits to our health that are noteworthy. It helps to normalize blood pressure. So if you're struggling with high blood pressure, consider adding garlic to your diet on a regular basis. It also helps to normalize cholesterol levels. It also has a host of antioxidants and has been shown to help to prevent Alzheimer's disease. Sulfur also has many sulfur compounds, and these are effective in binding to heavy metals, for example, mercury, lead, etc., and helps them to be safely excreted from the body. So that's a very big plus for garlic as well. So bear that in mind too, just as an ongoing detox agent to be included in your diet for that purpose. So a quick summary of why we would use garlic. So first and foremost, as per this video, for colds and flus, but in addition to that, also for ear infections, for skin infections, and to enhance our immune system really across the board. Now, just as for garlic, I really do recommend that you use garlic raw. Sorry, just as for honey, when we choose to use raw honey, we also want garlic to be raw. So bear that in mind. Any kind of, we can heat it slightly, but I really wouldn't cook it excessively because you will be reducing its efficacy. So with that said, how do we use it for colds and flu? Well, we can include it in our food, and you can add it right at the end of the meal. So it's just slightly heated, but not cooked for too long. So really, you know, in the last minute or so of preparing a meal. You can also add garlic to a hot drink simply by crushing a clove of garlic, adding it to a mug of hot water, and to that you might want to add our good friend honey to just make it sweeter, of course, and also the juice of a lemon. So that can really be a wonderful cold and flu drink. For those of you who might be opposed to garlic because of the garlic breath, really, they're very simple, natural options to counter the garlic breath. You can chew on a sprig of parsley, you can eat an apple raw, or drink a glass of lemon juice. All of those will help to counter the garlic breath. And we can also use garlic for skin infections. And for this, it's very simple. We simply crush a clove of garlic and add it to a tablespoon of olive oil. And you ideally like to warm it up. It just helps to infuse the garlic into the oil. So place that in a bath of warm water. So the warm water heals it, warms it rather from the through the bowl, and leave it in this bowl of warm water for half an hour at least, just until the oil is nicely warmed and you can smell the garlic while infused in the oil, and then you can apply that warm oil directly to the skin infections, and just place a few drops of this to the infection. Just leave it to dry, or you can wrap on a light bandage or something just to keep it in place, and repeat this several times a day, and I think you'll be surprised at how well that works. In addition, it's really great for ear infections, and if you want that recipe for healing ear infections with garlic, then please refer to that past health bite in which we shared some detail on treating ear infections and wax buildup in ears using garlic and olive oil. And last but not least, just including garlic on a regular basis in your meal to enhance your immune system across the board. And again, remember, apply, add it right at the end of the meal, or just have it raw as is. Organic and bought locally at your farmer's market is always going to be best. Okay, great. Now, third on our list is ginger as a wonderful food for as a natural antibiotic. Now, most people are familiar with the fact that ginger is wonderful for enhancing gut health. But most people don't know that it also acts as an antibiotic. Yeah, ginger really is a wonderful natural medicine. And we can put this down to one of its active ingredients, gingerol. Now, just as mentioned previously, ginger is also effective against Salmonella and E. coli. So again, something good to include on a regular basis, or something to use as treatment for food poisoning naturally. What are its uses? Well, it's first and foremost known, as I mentioned a moment ago, for its use in the gut, and it's a real go-to If you ever have nausea, making a good brew of ginger tea is wonderful for relieving nausea. I always suggest grating the ginger as opposed to just putting a piece of ginger in. You'll get much better infusion of the hot water with the ginger. So just allow it to brew, for example, in a cafetiere, and then you can just pour it after about 10 minutes. Wonderful for nausea. It's also wonderful across the board for easing any digestive issues, such as heartburn and bloat and discomfort, calming indigestion after a meal. In fact, this is exactly why ginger is served raw with foods like sushi, because it helps to prevent foodborne illnesses. Food poisoning, as I've mentioned a moment ago, and also helps with indigestion. So remember those uses for ginger, and like garlic and honey, please, always raw is best. And how to enjoy ginger? Well, either in a tea, as I've shared, or added in the late stages of a delicious meal, just as with garlic. If you want to, in terms of colds and flu, you can combine really most of these ingredients that I've just shared, the grated ginger with raw honey, and to that you can add the juice of half a lemon, and you might even want to add some cinnamon as well. That makes for a really delicious flu remedy. So again, that's grated ginger to taste. Some people find it quite strong, so just the amount that feels good for you, but it should be reasonably strong tasting. Teaspoon of raw honey, the juice of half a lemon, and then cinnamon to taste. Wonderful, delicious drink, and you might want to have that on a regular basis through winter, not just for treatment, but also in prevention, and it will really warm up your entire system and make sure that your immune system is primed for any infections during the winter months. So there we go, folks. I hope that has been helpful, and I hope you feel encouraged and have greater peace of mind entering the colder months of the year, to use these natural options and not to have to resort to pharmaceutical drugs. And so enjoy this self-reliance in health. It really is easy, easier than most people expect. So as you've heard me say before, embrace your power in natural medicine, in enhancing your immune system, so that you don't need to be reliant on the pharmaceutical industry, and you can really treat the cause and feel really confident that you can handle really most infections and most illnesses simply with simple remedies, as we've shared here. With that said, beautiful people, I wish you a wonderful rest of your week. Lots of love to you.